What's up? And welcome back to the Something's Brewing podcast. This is episode 19, the
19.
Tyler Sagan episode, Joe
Infamous.
Thornton episode.
Makes you
if-
want to catch
hey,
breakfast on time, doesn't it?
I was gonna say, dude. Well, it's the anniversary of the infamous breakfast
Is it really?
incident. Yeah, it is the
That's
anniversary,
insane.
so very
You think
fitting.
Nathan Horton's celebrating?
No. No, he's not. But welcome back to the show. This is episode 19. As always, brought to you in partnership with the Black and Gold Productions LLC. You can follow them on Twitter at BNG Productions. You can follow myself on Twitter at _ Mike Sullivan. And you can follow my other host, Nick Melanson, on Twitter at Nick Melanson _. Got a lot to talk about today. I got a bunch of topics in my little headspace here.
I'm excited. Little headspace.
Oh, trust me, it's little. Yeah. We'll cut. 2 games have passed since our last episode. We had a couple days in between games, a couple of long days in between games. So we'll cover the Colorado game, and we'll cover last night's game, or 2 nights ago, if you're listening to this on Wednesday morning, against Vegas. But before we jump into it, Nick, what have you been up to? Anything fun? Anything exciting?
Nope.
No,
Nothing. Just trying to rebound from the whole, getting my financial information stolen from China thing. But
Yeah.
there's been an update since we last spoke. So unfortunately, I was not able to block the money, and the money was taken from my account, so it's gone.
Well, hey, Xi Jinping probably just bought a new aircraft carrier with that money.
But so I bought this for people who might have missed last episode. First of all, what are you doing? Second of all, I bought some snowboard stuff from a shady website that said they were based in Atlanta, Georgia. The prices were unbelievable. I mentioned last episode, a $450 Burton jacket for $98. So I bought myself a jacket, not the Burton one, and I bought myself some snow pants. And I swear to you, as soon as I hit place order, the phone rang. It was my bank. There was a charge on my card in China. It happens to the best of us. What are you gonna do? So I went through all the fraud stuff. I got a new debit card, and then I got an email from some boutique website, very broken English, telling me, congratulations on order, been placed, expect 1 to 3 week. And I went, okay. So I'm getting something in the mail. I don't know what it is. They sent me like a link to track my package. Not clicking on that. So I guess we'll just see what happens. So it's either going to be, I'm either not going to get anything in the mail, or I'm going to get a box of packing peanuts, or maybe by some shot in hell. See, my thought, and I mentioned it last episode, I've bought a lot of stuff from DHgate. If you don't know what DHgate is, it's basically like a Chinese wholesaler, and they have factories and massive warehouses just filled with anything you could ever imagine, and you can buy stuff for ridiculous prices. Like, Christmas is around the corner, so if you're trying to save some money, you can buy a brand new pair of AirPods for like $30. You can buy like official NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB official jerseys for about $11. I don't have any jerseys behind me, but when I was in college, all of my walls were decked out in like sports jerseys and stuff. Everything was from DHgate. So I've bought stuff from China before, and I'm hoping that this is like just another case of just some random Chinese warehouse that has a bunch of snowboard stuff that they're just dumping on the American internet. And I'm hoping that, like, you never know, like 1 to 3 weeks from now, I could get a package in the mail and it could actually be what I bought. So until then, I'm not going to know if I can get my money back or not, because if they sent me the real stuff, then this whole fiasco of me going through the fraud department at my bank, getting a new debit card, switching all my banking information over on literally everything. I didn't realize how much stuff my card was attached to until like 2 days ago when I had to switch everything over. But I might have done that for nothing, but we'll see. I'll keep everybody updated. But that was my weekend, was switching all my card information over. Other than, of course, watching the Bruins beat the brakes off the Avalanche. But we'll get into that. So how was your weekend? What did you do? Anything fun?
My weekend was good. Outside, well, for those of you who don't know, I work for the post office, and
Mm,
right
slinging
now,
that mail.
oh my, slinging left, right, up, down, 24 hours a day. It's crazy. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas coming up. It is jam packed. But so outside of that, it was really work. Go home, do some BNG stuff, watch the games, catch up with the rest of the NHL. Just nice, easy week to be honest with you. But I did get to go to the Vegas game. Shout out to Mark, the head honcho over here at BNG Productions, for setting up the media credentials. So I was lucky enough to get to go to that game, cover the game live. So that was a good experience. Outside of that, though, yeah, just work, grinding, getting everybody here their Christmas presents. So I'm the real life Santa Claus. So
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If you're listening, make sure you thank your postman or postwoman this year.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
the real Santa Clauses. We used to always leave, well, not always, but sometimes we would always leave a little. I just said always again. Not always. Sometimes we would leave a little gift card in the mailbox for the mail person to come by and open it up and give them a nice little holiday treat. I know our mail woman is a woman named Chris, who my dad is friends with, so maybe she'll get something this year. But if you're ever doing my neighborhood, because I know you do it sometimes, and you call me and I see you outside my house, let me know. I'll leave you like a hot chocolate or something in the
Oh,
mailbox to keep you
please.
warm.
Please. Some people, you see, with this job, you meet some of the best people, you meet some of the worst people. Quick little tangent. If you're out there, be nice to your mailman. It's not. It's a grind of a job, and it doesn't seem like it is, but it is. Um, I have had people, you know, get mad at me because I'm out in the rain, and I'll bring their mail to their door, and they'll come get it, and they're like, "Why is my mail wet?" I'm like, "Do you not see outside? It's raining out. What do you want me to
Yeah.
do?" But then
Or I was gonna
but then
say,
you on the
imagine
yeah, you go.
imagine like the how upset you would be if you missed your mail person and they left a note on your door and said you can come pick it up on November 31st.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I did that.
I was like,
I did, yeah, I
that
did
went
that.
right over your
It
head.
did for a second. It just went right by me. Yeah, there November 31st doesn't exist. I learned that last episode. Um, but then you get the best of people too. Like last week I was just out at this person's house and she ended up bringing me out a coffee, gave me one of those reusable Starbucks, coffee cups. And so, it's a mixed bag, but yeah, just especially this time of year. If you see your letter carrier, your mailman, mailwoman, just say thank you.
Yeah.
So but yeah, hey, with that being said, we can jump right into these two games. So that game against Colorado, there was a lot of drama surrounding that game after the fact, with McAvoy slamming Lehkonen down onto the ice, and Avs fans throwing a damn hissy fit saying McAvoy needs to answer next game for hurting Lehkonen. Outside of that, the Bruins dominated that game. They ended up winning 5-1, and it was overall a great game to watch. It was fun. Allmark Lennon 1 goal on 25 shots. Bruins peppered Francouz with 40 shots. Pasta with a goal. Frederick with 2. Actually, Pasta with 2 as well. And then DeBrusque had his 100th career NHL goal. So that's a cool sight to see too. So Bruins get that win. Pretty consistently. They had 13 shots in the first, 15 in the second, 12 in the third, heavily outshooting Colorado. Colorado actually outshot the Bruins in the first period. They had 14 shots to the Bruins 13, and then they had 5 shots in the second and 6 in the third. So the Bruins really locked down on defense
All right,
after
let's
that.
start trying now.
Yeah, like, all right, we'll give them a shot in the first period just to make it interesting, and then we're just gonna beat the brakes off these guys. And granted, too, like Colorado is hurt. They got a couple guys missing, mainly Landeskog being the number 1 guy. But still, that's just because you're missing him. Not like you have other superstars on the team that you're missing. Cale Makar was still playing. Nathan McKinnon was still playing. Mikko Rantanen, I believe, was still playing. And then it's just excuse after excuse for a defending Stanley Cup team and fan
Yeah.
base for getting beaten on by the Bruins.
Yeah, all those stars you mentioned, you forgot to mention superstar Lehkonen, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
Avalanche
How could I forget?
were in a tizzy that, the best player in
Tizzy.
they're in a tizzy that the best player in franchise history got slammed to the ice, which is like total, like, come on. Like that, it's one of the jobs of being a defenseman is protecting your goalie. And
Yeah.
especially when you have one of the hottest goalies, arguably the hottest goalie in the NHL right now, Linus Ullmark. And like Lehkonen, he was going hard to the net. I mean, I only saw it from one angle. I didn't see it from the other angle. It didn't look like he was like digging and jabbing at Ullmark, but he was standing over the goalie. He's in the goalie's crease, and that's what you do as a defenseman. You take out the trash. And that's what Charlie McAvoy did. It's not his fault that he's bigger and he's stronger than him. Like, he grabbed the guy's arm, he turned around, and he threw him to the ground. That's what you do. I mean, there's been how many instances have you seen of shit that is so much worse than that going on in front of the net? I don't remember who it was, but this past weekend, and it's gonna kill me because I don't remember the team, but their goalie literally two-handed a guy right in the back of the legs with his stick because he was standing in the crease. I mean, would you rather have the goalie do that on his own, or would you rather have a defenseman that's going to take the guy out of the crease for you? Like, that's what you do. And if
Yeah.
it was a Bruins player standing in the Avalanche crease, I would fully expect the Avalanche to retaliate the same way that McAvoy did. People said that they body slammed him. I don't think he did. He didn't slew foot him. I think it's just a classic case of Charlie McAvoy is one strong son of a bitch. And
Yeah,
he put that
exactly.
guy on his ass, and that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, if McAvoy stands there and Lehkonen starts digging at Ullmark and now Ullmark's hurt, I mean, how does that look? It's just
Exactly.
it's part of hockey. And watching the Avalanche reporters of all people, I understand if fans get upset because they're fans. And I know that you have the emotional attachment to your team when something like that happens, and maybe when it's a superstar player like Lehkonen is apparently out of nowhere. When you see that happen to your team's player, you have a reaction. But to watch like Colorado Avalanche verified blue check reporters get really upset and call it a dirty play. There was that one guy that I think you tweeted back at saying that there has to be some sort of retaliation to Charlie McAvoy for this. And it's like, what are we doing? This
Yeah.
is hockey. Guys drop the mitts and punch each other's faces in. And now you're mad that Charlie McAvoy is defending his goalie when a guy was in his crease. It's literally a non-story. This kind of stuff happens. It sucks that Lehkonen got hurt, and I don't know how hurt he is. I don't know if he came back, but they're calling it an upper body injury, whatever it was. But it just, and you could even see like when McAvoy put the guy down, like he wasn't like taunting him. He wasn't like, yeah, like get the hell out of my crease. McAvoy was like, oh shit, like, oops, like I don't recognize my own strength.
Yeah, and it's not like he like threw all of his weight down on Lehkonen either. He literally just Lehkonen was standing over Ullmark behind him in the blue paint. And mind you, as we know, goalies don't have any protection on their back legs. It's just the pads and then nothing behind it. So if Ullmark catches a skate from Lehkonen just on his calf or whatever, that's an injury where he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
He's arguably the NHL's best goalie right now. Why is it so wrong for Charlie McAvoy to move Lehkonen out of the way? It's not. It's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you do. I mean, you and I were both defensemen. They teach you that when you're a freaking mite. When you're 6 years old, you protect the goalie. Doesn't matter if you're a defenseman, if you're a forward, whoever you are. If somebody's in the crease, if somebody's digging at the goalie, you get them out of there. Being a defenseman, it's usually your job. And Charlie McAvoy, a leader of the team, the best defenseman, he's gonna do that, and it's just part of the game. Like, he's honestly, like, Lehkonen is lucky that like Chara still isn't on this team because he would have pounded that guy up into the ninth deck. He would have been sitting up there next to you. Like, it again, it's unfortunate, but like it's just like Charlie McAvoy just took care of the trash. And again, this if it was the exact same thing, if David Pastrnak, right? Because apparently they're on the same level because Lehkonen's a superstar. If David Pastrnak was crashing the Avalanche's net and Cale Makar or Devin Taves, whoever it is, like grabbed him. I mean, we've seen it. You can put a guy in a choke slam and put him on the ground. That's what happens. That's what you do to protect your goalie. There's usually nothing called, no penalties. It's just what happens, and everybody moves on. But because it's the Bruins, and because the Avalanche are soft, and because they're coming up with every excuse in the book as to why they got beat down so badly by Boston, they have to attach, Charlie McAvoy is a dirty player. There has to be a retaliation to it. And I mean, we'll see because they have a quick turnaround. They play the Avalanche again pretty soon here. And I really want to see if the Avalanche take exception to that because I think as a hockey player, you see that. and you go, it's unfortunate he got hurt, but that's part of the game. So I want to see if that translated to the locker room, because reporters from the Avalanche were mad that happened. If you're a hockey player, I think you look at that and you go, that's just part of the game.
Yeah, I think the team understands. Like, I don't think the team's mad at all. I think if they're a logical team, they see that their guy was going hard to the net, and he's in that area where he's risking his, um, his. I don't want to say safety because it's not like that dire, but he's risking his body to go hard to the net and take that chance, and he lost the chance, and he got body slammed to the ice, and he just so happened to get hurt, but he took the risk. And the Bruins actually play the Avalanche tonight, so it will be tonight. So we'll see. I don't think anything's gonna happen. I think it was just a hockey play that the players understand, and then some fans and wildly some reporters legitimately called for violence against Charlie
Yeah,
McAvoy.
it's like an assassination attempt on Lehkonen by Charlie McAvoy. Like, it happens. And I'm glad you said taking a risk, because if you've ever played hockey, you know the risks of crashing the net. Like, guys are going to be there. If like the whistle's blown and you got a guy still digging at the net at the goalie, you're going to get your head taken off. It's just, it's like in the NFL, you protect your quarterback. In the NHL, it's like the golden rule is you protect your goalie by any means. It doesn't, like, I remember like growing up playing hockey, like our high school coaches would tell us, I'm sure you know exactly the coach I'm talking about.
Yeah, Jamie.
If there's someone in front of the net, you do whatever the hell you have to do to get him out of there. If you take a penalty protecting your goalie, that's fine. That's the only penalty you can ever accept as a coach, as a teammate, is protecting your goalie, because you got to do what you got to do.
And I will say too, Jamie used to say, like, two-hand him in the back of the ankles.
Oh no, he step on their Achilles. Like, do what you gotta do.
He's crazy.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, Jamie, that's not a good idea, Jamie.
But the other hot talking point from this game was all of the injuries that Colorado had. And you're right, there are some pretty big injuries. I know right before we started recording, the report literally just came out 10 minutes ago that Nathan McKinnon is now out for 4 weeks, which is a huge blow to Colorado to have him out. Yeah, to have him out that long. But man, like, they were trying to say, like, oh yeah, Bruins came in here and beat the snot out of us, freaking doubled our shots, and came and beat us 5-1 because we have injuries. Every team has injuries. I get it.
Hey, guess what? Guess who else had injuries at the beginning of the season?
That's what I was gonna say.
Were you okay?
The Bruins without their top winger, their top defenseman. They missed Carlo for some time. They were without Grzelcyk for some time. Jeremy Swayman's leg exploded. They only had to call up a 29-year-old journeyman, Keith Kincaid, who just turned into Dominic Hasek overnight. Like, the Bruins have had some injury problems as well, and I get it. They didn't have they didn't have all of these injury problems at once. Like, I think the Avalanche have like 6 or 7 pretty good guys that are out right now, which is a big deal. But like, to use it as an excuse, I don't know. I thought that it was kind of soft. I could understand maybe if it was like a 4-3 loss, you could be like, oh man, like, if only we had our full team. But like, no, like, the Avalanche got the shit kicked out of by the Bruins. And I always hate the injury excuse. I think it's so lame. And especially when it's an 82 game season, like, losing one game, dropping one game isn't the biggest problem, but like, losing 5-1, defending Stanley Cup champions, going into Boston, who are, at the time, like 19-3, and just getting your face stomped in. I'm sure it had them feeling some kind of way.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. But yeah, let's move on to the Vegas game last night. So first of all, Logan Thompson.
He's insane.
I'm pretty sure he's still on his ELC, which is, I think he's at like $750K for 3 more years or 2 more years. So Vegas has a good deal right there with him. But yeah, I mean, that game, they came out slow. There's so much to talk about with this game too, because it was Bruce Cassidy's return. Jack Eichel didn't play, Pietrangelo didn't play, so Vegas was without their first line center, their top pairing defenseman, something maybe Colorado fans can learn, that it's not always injuries that determine a game. But instantly, first shot of the game, Paul Cotter scores, and then I think it was 3 shots later, Marchessault gets a goal, instantly 2-0. And then to open up the second period again, Paul Cotter, 51 seconds into the game, into the period, makes it a 3-0 game. And the Garden was quiet. There was no energy in the building. For honestly maybe the first time this season at home, it seemed like everybody's wind was just taken right out of them. But then Marshawn scored towards the end of the second, and then Pasta scored with 24 seconds to go in the second period, making it 3-2. And all of a sudden, you could feel the energy in the building. You got the "Let's go Bruins" chants coming. Everybody was just going kind of nuts, anticipating that tying goal because you're down 3-0 with no momentum on your side whatsoever, and suddenly Marshawn gets one and Pasta gets one, and it's like, okay, well now we're only down by one. Um, it's gonna happen again. Like,
Yeah, and it's funny too because I remember when they were playing. I thought they were gonna lose to Carolina, right? When they like a week ago when they were down 2-0 right off the rip, and it was like, oh,
yeah.
damn, like this is gonna be the end of it. And they came back and they won that game 3-2. And I remember it's just there's just something different about this team. I remember they were down 3-0 fast against Vegas, and it was like, man, it's gonna be one hell of a comeback. Like I'm looking forward to it. like I felt like you just knew that it was gonna happen. And I know a lot of the talk last night obviously is around Bruce Cassidy and Jake DeBrusk, and the Bruins played, but like, what about Jeremy Swayman? Like he did not look good for the first half of that period. Whether or not you think the goals were his fault or not, he didn't look very solid in net. But giving up 3 goals that fast can really rattle a guy, especially Jeremy Swayman, who has been a bit up and down this year. And the way that he reacted to being down 3-0, he slammed the door on Vegas. And I know that I think it was the second period, third period, and overtime. The Bruins outshot Vegas something like 35-15 or something ridiculous like that. But still, I mean, that game could have gotten off the rails very quickly if it wasn't for some of those saves that Swayman made. And a lot of the chances too was turning defense directly into offense. I mean, you would see, I remember at one point, I believe it was in the third period, even Jack Edwards was, by the way, who sounded fantastic last night. We spent some time. I know you couldn't hear him because you were there, but we spent some time last episode talking about Jack Edwards because he didn't sound the same. But last night, man, he was on it. He was bringing out all the analogies, all the metaphors, everything.
I did hear somebody say that he said that it was the first shootout for the Bruins this season.
Yeah, he did say that.
He did say,
He
all
did
right,
say
well,
that.
that's just a slip up though. That'll happen.
Yeah.
But good,
What
good to know
happened
he
again?
sounded good. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, I will be flawless for the rest of the season.
But he even pointed out, that they were going back and forth the whole third period, and a lot of that was like, a big save by Swayman, a kick save by Swayman, and then suddenly the Bruins got it and they're going back the other way. And when you're down, 3-0 in the first period, and the stadium's quiet, you're at Bruce Cassidy's back in town. You're playing the best team in the West. That game could have gone off the rails more than it already was very quickly. And he looked rattled after that third goal, and I was expecting Olmark to come in, but Montgomery stayed with Swayman, and he was rewarded for it. I mean, he was making great saves. He settled down, and he looked like Jeremy Swayman after giving up that third goal. So, I know the Bruins annihilated them offensively after that third goal. I mean, it was, all systems were firing, but without Jeremy Swayman kind of settling down and going, all right, okay, hang on, let me kind of get my bearings here. That comeback wouldn't have been possible, and they would have left last night with no points instead of 1.
Yeah, and to speak on your point about the shots in the second and the third. So the first period, Vegas outshot Boston 8, or actually shots were equal at 8. But then second period, Vegas had 6 shots, the Bruins had 15, and then in the third period, Vegas had 9 shots and the Bruins had 14. So in total, the Bruins outshot Vegas 43-24. They just ran into a hot goalie and a slow start too. But Swayman too, speaking on him, like you said, after that third goal that he let up, I can remember a couple breakaways that he stopped too that could have easily just turned the game right back to the way it was going. But Taylor Hall's goal on that 5-on-3 ended up tying the game in the third period. And that was an electric goal too. He brought it to the net, got his own rebound, and just kind of roofed it.
Yeah.
Garden was buzzing. The Garden was buzzing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, there's a lot of encouraging things to take away from the game, right? And I tweeted about it last night. Down 3-0, they fight back. It's 3-3. Swayman was crapping his pants to begin with. He settles down. The Bruins just took it to him right after they were down 3-0. They stormed back, took the lead, but they had chances to take that game and they just couldn't do it. And all the credit in the world to Thompson because he was standing on his freaking head. I mean, they had the 5-on-3 in overtime. I mean, they were out shooting the crap out of Vegas for the whole second and third period. Overtime, I think shots were like 6-1, and they just couldn't get it done. Even in the shootout when Charlie Coyle had the net wide open
I know.
and he missed, and it was like, oh man, I thought that was it. But one thing that this Bruins team has that is like unbelievable is, boy, they can just suffocate teams. And
Yeah.
even when it doesn't look like it's going right, like it was last night, I'll say it again, they were down 3-0. It's just like the light flipped, and then all of a sudden, like Vegas can literally go like 11 minutes over the span of 2 periods with a single shot. And the Bruins, they because that was their problem in the first period. They weren't shooting the puck, and
Yeah. Yes.
everybody was
Yes.
tweeting about it. They kept trying to make the perfect play, the pretty pass. I don't know if they were all amped up that Bruce was in the building. I don't know what it was, but they would not shoot the damn puck. And then everything changed, and then suddenly they're just peppering the shit out of Thompson. And like we've seen that a lot with this team, is like if you look at the box score after the game and you look at the shots, and the Bruins regularly have like 35 to 45 shots, and it's usually like almost double the other team's shots. So, it's going to be hard to, I guess, not score the puck when you're shooting as often as the Bruins have, and just that ability to just pepper the goalie, take shots from everywhere on the ice, and then also stifle the other team's offensive attack with some of the best defensive centers in the league, as well as the defensive unit that they have. Ooh, I know they lost last night, but it was just, it was like the tale of two teams. You had
Yeah.
the first half of the first period Bruins, and then you had the 2.5 period plus overtime Bruins. And if the Bruins played the whole game the way that they did for 80% of that game, I mean, it would have been a replay of what happened against Colorado. They would have won
Yeah.
5-1.
100%. And talking about Bruce Cassidy too. So I did you see, because I know you were watching on Nesson, so they zoomed in on Cassidy when they showed the tribute, and he was tearing up. He was pounding his chest. He was waving to the fans. He was actually like, for the first time ever, emotional. And
Yep.
I've never seen that from Bruce Cassidy. And I'm so glad that he got the appreciation that he deserved. There was a little part of me that was a little worried that people were going to boo him and take for granted what he did for the team of all 6 seasons that he spent here.
Yeah, yeah, and we talked about it last episode. I think it was either Gail or I think it might have been Melinda actually who asked us about the reception that Bruce Cassidy was going to receive, and I wasn't sure. I honestly thought that it was going to be a mixed bag, but I'm so happy that it wasn't. Um, Especially a lot of times, I feel like you can watch a sports game, and like your home crowd will start booing a player, and everybody at home is yelling at the TV, "No, no, stop! Don't boo him!" And I
Yeah.
thought that was going to be what we saw with Bruce Cassidy, but like, um, for an organization who's kind of been in the news, especially since the whole Mitchell Miller incident recently, for all the wrong reasons, I thought this was a really, really classy move by the Bruins. And not to compare the two situations, but I just thought that it was the right thing to do. I'm glad that they honored Bruce Cassidy like that here for 6 years. Grew up a huge Bruins fan, 400-point seasons, Jack Adams Award winner, was a game away from winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And like you said, the reception that he got, the video, I mean, you could see he was getting choked up. And if you've ever listened to Bruce Cassidy's voice, if you even just seen a picture of the guy, I mean, he does not look like a guy who's ever shown even the slightest crack of a smile.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he knows anything other than rage and anger. And to see his reaction on the bench, and then did you hear his comments after the game about when he was kind of asked about everything?
Yeah.
He was talking about, first they asked him, how did it feel, when that video was being played here in the Garden and hearing the reception from the crowd, and he was choked. I mean, this is post game. He's choked up. And he was like, man, like I really appreciated it, and he was basically saying that like he wasn't kind of sure the reception he was gonna get, but like he said it like 3 times. He's like, I appreciated it. Like I just like no words, I appreciate it. And he even said like I got choked up there for about 3 seconds, but
Yeah. Yeah.
like I wasn't expecting that. And then there was the photo with him also talking with Bergeron in the hallway for like a half hour after the game. And even if you're in the Boston area, I'm sure you've probably heard all of the comments about him and Jake DeBrusk and him in the locker room, losing the locker room, and everybody has an opinion on Bruce Cassidy. And he was asked about, like how he feels about the guys in the locker room, and he was like, I have nothing but respect for every single person in that locker room, from everybody. It doesn't matter if you were there with me all 6 years, if I only got a year with you, I love and respect all those guys. I wish every single one of them nothing but the best. And for me, hearing that's not the exact quote, but it almost felt like he's talking to your guys like Bergeron, Pasternak, whoever it might be. And then it also felt like he was kind of talking to Krejci. He was talking to
Yeah.
DeBrusque. And it doesn't matter if we've had these differences in the past. I respect the hell out of you. I'm happy for you. We've both gone our separate ways, and maybe I'll meet you in the cup or something like that. But even after the game, when they won the game and you could see Cassidy on the bench, he was fired up.
Yeah, he
And
was. Yeah, he was.
I was pissed. I was upset that the Bruins lost, but seeing Bruce Cash like that on the bench, pumping his fists, and he was smiling. He was like, "Hey, yeah!" Shaking his, his staff's hands. I was like, all right, I'm mad that the Bruins lost. I don't like the Knights, but I'm happy for Bruce Cassidy.
Yeah, that's how I felt too, especially because, I mean, if anybody was going to end the Bruins' undefeated home streak at the TD Garden, I'm glad it was somebody who we can all respect, like Bruce Cassidy, not like John Tortorella or I don't know, Jordan Binnington in the Blues, something like that.
God.
You know what I mean? Like at least it was
Oh,
Bruce.
that
Like,
pisses me off.
Yeah, just the thought
why'd
of
you have
it.
to mention Binnington's name? Damn it!
But so yeah, the game ended in a shootout. Do you like the shootouts or no? This
do.
is a hot topic.
It is a hot topic, and I understand why. Perfect scenario. I would love continuous 3-on-3 overtime until somebody wins. I understand why you can't do that, because players get hurt, players get tired, and who knows? Maybe suddenly everybody's there until 4 or 5:30 in the morning because nobody can score. I don't think that would happen, but I like the shootout. I think that it's entertaining. I think that when you're on the wrong end of it, like the Bruins were last night, you go, damn, this is stupid as hell. But I think if you're a team like Vegas, who is getting, beat down and beat down and beat down for 2.5 periods, and all they had to do was get it into the shootout and they can get away with 2 points, I think that they probably love it right now, understandably so. But I think that there's ways around it. I think that the greatest thing that the NHL did was make overtime 3-on-3, changed everything. And I think that they're trying to not have as many games end in shootouts, but I think that you kind of need that definite ending to a game. Otherwise, overtimes can go on forever. But maybe not, what is it? 6 minutes, 3-on-3? Is that what it is right now?
I think it's 5.
I want them to bump it up to 10. 10 minutes, 3-on-3, and then have it end in a shootout if nobody score. That would be my answer.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind that, because if you go 10 minutes 3-on-3 and still nobody scores,
yeah,
and it's regular season too. It's not like it's playoffs.
right.
Regular season, you go 10 minutes 10 minutes 3-on-3, no one scores. It's like, okay, all right, now we can do a shootout. But 5 minutes is too quick. I think it's too quick.
You know what I almost don't like, and I know that there's not an answer to it, but I don't really like how if it's it's a penalty in overtime. So the Bruins go up a man, so it's 4-on-3 because you can't have less than 3 people. But then the penalty ends, so the the other skater comes out, and now it's 4-on-4. I understand you can't stop the game and go, wait. Each team send a person off and go back to 3-on-3 because that's one of the Bruins' strengths is they're so fast on every level. Their forwards are fast. They have, I think they have the quickest group of defensemen in the league, other than Forbert, who's a little slow. But other than that, their strength is their speed. And you saw it last night when the games get to overtime and it's 3-on-3. Everybody's flying all over the ice. And I remember because there was 30 seconds in the game in overtime last night when the penalty ended and it went back to 4-on-4, and I was like, damn it, they're not going to score. There's not enough room out there for these guys to wheel around. And I understand you can't pause the game and go, wait, no, hang on. Bruins send a guy off. Golden Knights send a guy off. Let's go back to 3-on-3. You got to keep playing. But I love 3-on-3 overtime.
Oh, it's the best thing they've ever done. With you saying that, would you go? Say a penalty happens, you go 3-on-2, or is that too much? Is that too much? Because then the guy comes out of the box and you're immediately 3-on-3, right back to it.
Right, but then that opens the door for 3-on-1. If you get 2
Let's
penalties.
get crazy. Let's get crazy.
If you get 3 guys get a penalty, suddenly it's just a 3-on-0 and your goal is dead. Good luck. No, I don't know. I mean, I understand that there's science to it, and that's just a stupid quarrel that I have. I know it's ridiculous in the grand scheme of things. It's a big deal. It's suddenly 4-4 instead of 3-3. But I just remember last night because I was really mad because I predicted before the game. I predicted 3 times. I predicted on our episode last week that the Bruins would win 4-3. Then I predicted before the game started that the Bruins would win in overtime 4-3. And then I also predicted that Jake DeBrusk would get the overtime goal. So I had tweets in my drafts ready to go. I had Twitter open watching overtime, like ready to fire away and hit send in all these tweets about, calling myself like Nostradamus, like I got a magic 8-ball or something. So I was really in tune with this overtime. And then, the skaters came back out after the penalty and it was 4-4. And I went, oh, they're not scoring. There's not enough room. There's not enough room for them to skate around out there. So
Yeah. What about okay, so stick with because now I'm on the thought process of just getting crazy. Say you do 5-minute periods of overtime, right? 5 minutes 3-on-3, no one scores. Would you do 5 minutes and 2-on-2? And then wait, and then wait, and then no one scores, and then you got 1-on-1. Like imagine
oh
imagine it's Colorado Edmonton. They get to
I was
that
gonna
third,
say,
and you got McKinnon and McDavid 1-on-1.
oh my,
Like,
or even
dude.
2-on-2 if you had like McKinnon and Landeskog against McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
dude, like how insane would that would be nuts.
That would be
Nuts.
really cool. You know what? They should try that in the All-Star game. See how it works.
Actually they should.
Because they tried 3-on-3 in the All-Star game before they made it the overtime rule, and they saw
Yeah.
that the ratings boosted. But I think that I feel like in an age where a lot of professional sports leagues just do stupid shit, right? Like football, what's a catch? Nobody knows what a catch is in football because the rules are dumb. Baseball, they're trying everything that they can do to make the game more exciting, and nothing's working because it's baseball. But hockey, 3-on-3 overtime, electric. I cannot find a single person who does not like 3-on-3 overtime. That was a great move by Gary Bettman. One of the very few great moves that he's made.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like hockey too, like you said, football, what's a catch? Hockey, what's goalie interference? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
There was oh shit. I keep forgetting my teams. I don't remember who it was. I was gonna say the goal where that it was called back because like the skater's skate was right next to the goalie.
Yeah.
And they called the goal back, and I get it. The goalie couldn't push all the way to the left, but he was already pretty much extended. But that's just my 2 cents.
I think it was against Carolina too. It was the Foligno, or I forget who the one who scored it, but Foligno was in the crease, and it's because the defenseman from Carolina legitimately like shoved Foligno into Kachakov.
Yeah, was it?
And they made the right call.
Was it the Devils that had three goals called back in one game and they lost?
Yeah, and that was when the fans threw all the garbage on the
ice. Listen, I mean, I don't think that was the best thing for the fans to do, but
I mean,
I
all that gabagool in New Jersey just went to waste.
Could you imagine the heavy set Italian gentlemen in the stands with all their rings on their fingers throwing submarine sandwiches on the ice or whatever the hell?
Yeah, throwing Italian subs in their gold chains.
And what are we doing?
What are we doing here? Batman, what are we doing? Come on. You just took another one. Gary, come on, kid.
Get a load of this guy.
Get a load of this chump. Yeah. So yeah, Bruins go 1-on-1 in that game recap. Actually, 1-0-1.
Right. Well, hang on. Actually, let me ask you a question first.
Sure.
I know the Bruins had the longest streak in NHL history of home wins to start the season, but do you really call last night a loss? Shootout loss.
The Bruins, dude, they still haven't lost in regulation. They haven't lost in regulation at home.
I mean, they have they technically been defeated? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I don't have the qualifications to answer that question. They were defeated in a shootout.
They were defeated in a skills competition. That's what it was.
In the grand scheme of things, though, like the Bruins got a point. Is there a check in the loss column? Nope, there's not. There's a check in the third column, which is like, who cares about that,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that they've been defeated at home, but I don't think that they're undefeated at home. They're kind of in that little bit of a gray area there.
They're undefeated with an asterisk.
Yeah, that's
That's what I
fair.
would say. Once they lose in regulation, then they're really their undefeated streak is really gone. Technically, yes, they lost at home. Technically, but not in regulation. They have not lost in 3 periods at
I also
TD Garden.
I wanted to mention everybody's been talking about, for a good reason, the schedule right now, the gauntlet. Have you seen who the Bruins play in the month of March?
No, who is it?
Let me read you this
Is it
team.
another gauntlet?
Yeah, of sorts. They open it again, home versus Buffalo, home versus the Rangers. You know what? Let's go. Hang on. You tell me if you think it's a win. We'll keep track.
Okay.
Assume both teams are fully healthy. Home against Buffalo,
W.
1-0. Home against the Rangers,
The way they're playing right now, W.
2-0. At Detroit,
W.
3-0. At Chicago,
W.
4-0. At Winnipeg,
Oh, Winnipeg is good. In Winnipeg, loss.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-1. At Minnesota,
Win.
7-1. At Buffalo,
Win.
8-1. Home against Ottawa.
Win. Although
9
it should be a win, I feel like it'll be a loss, but I'm going to say win.
Tell you what, we'll do 8-1-1.
Okay.
Home against Montreal. I'll
Win.
spare the time. That's a win. 9-1-1. Home against Tampa.
Fuck it. Win.
10-1-1. At Carolina.
Loss.
10-2-1. Home against Nashville.
Win.
11-2-1. Home against Columbus.
Win.
12-2-1.
Holy shit.
That's
all March?
That's all March. That's the NHL probably saw what they did to the Bruins for the last, week and a half here in November and first week of December. Went, oh crap, let's throw them a little biscuit and let's put it out in March when all these teams are battling injuries. And boy, that could be
though, Mel?
one huge month of wins for the Bruins. Yeah,
because that's about maybe a month to a month and a half away from playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they use that month to rest guys. I wouldn't be surprised if you see that month Bergeron's not playing as much. You're not seeing Marchand play as much. Maybe Pasta takes a couple games off. I think the older guys are going to see a little bit of rest days in that month.
They definitely could, but I think that's only if this division and this conference looks like it does right now in the standings. I mean, Tampa can start picking up games at the drop of a hat. Same with Carolina, and even Toronto, they can start winning games pretty quick too. I don't trust Toronto as far as I can throw them, but come March, if you suddenly find yourself, within a handful of points between these other teams, I don't think they could be in a position to start resting players. But you're definitely right. I think if it continues how it is, they'll start resting guys come March.
Toronto's only 5 points behind us. It's not like they're extremely far behind.
That's with the shitty start that Austin Matthews had too.
Yeah, I will say Toronto has 2 games in hand, but I mean they're still 15-5-6. So they're kind of catching up. They're not
6
overtime
and shootout losses. Holy shit,
that's crazy. We literally just had our first. But yeah, I mean Tampa's kind of heating up. They're 15-8-1. Same games played as us. They're 10 points behind us. But yeah, I mean. It's not an easy division, so but we are about halfway through the show, so I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Canna Wellness.
Canna Wellness.
So let's talk about the amazing Canna Wellness company, shall we? Canna Wellness offers you 4 distinct experiences for the different challenges you may face throughout the day. Canna Sleep, Canna Mend, Canna Fresh, and Canna Boost. It's the trusted brand for sports, fitness, and wellness households. With over 50 vitamins, nutrients, and herbal extracts and 4 compact sprays, it's the most convenient way to get back on track with no pills, water, or messy powders. 90% of nutrients in these oral sprays are absorbed in less than 30 seconds. It's like an entire health food store in your pocket. It is endorsed by Olympians, NHL players, and pro sports stars who rely on the Canna Wellness Company to support high performance. Mel, let's talk about each product.
Let's talk about it. Let's do that. First up, Canna Boost. Canna Boost gives you the ability to skip the coffee and sugary snacks and energize the healthy way. Use daily before you work out, when studying for an exam, and other times you need increased clarity, stamina, and concentration. Canamend provides the after party liver support and works fast to relieve hangovers in the morning after drinking. This unique oral spray supplement is blended with 11 vegan vitamins and herbal extracts to replenish your body to combat headaches, sickness, and lack of energy. Canna Fresh reduces stress and gives your body an immune system boost. Whether you're nervous before a presentation or need to calm down after a hectic day, the 11 natural and vegan ingredients in Canna Fresh take the edge off without making you drowsy or unmotivated. Canna Sleep is an all-natural and vegan sleep aid, and it's convenient and fast-absorbing. No mixing beverages, no waiting for gummies to kick in, just spray, roll over, and snooze. Control your dosage on how much sleep you need. If you want to try these amazing Canna Wellness all-natural oral sprays, please go to cannawellness.com. That is CANI-wellness.com, and use our promo code BNG25. That is BNG25 to get 25% off everything on the cannawellness.com website. We thank Canna Wellness for sponsoring this episode and our weekly Boston Bruins related podcast. Sully, back to you.
Let's get into the DMs.
Yeah. Also, wait, before we do that, have you seen what Jason Robertson's doing in Dallas?
He is disgusting. He's like on pace with McDavid, maybe a little better.
17 games played, 20 goals. What the hell is that?
That's crazy.
What the hell is that?
Like he's got Hintz, Sagan, and Ben, but it's not like Sagan and Ben are lighting up the world. Hintz is good. Hintz is good, but and he kind of came out of nowhere too.
Yeah, he's on my fantasy team. Jamie Benn is he on like a third liner now? What's he doing out there? I know he's getting older.
I mean, he's older. His body is probably so beat down too. Just because of the way he plays.
I'm trying to find Jason Robertson's stats.
Well, I know Sagan is having a better year. I know Sagan is having a better year this year than he did last season.
Oh, you know what? That was an old graphic of what I just said, 20 goals in 17 games. He now has 23 goals in 25 games. 23 goals, 18 assists, 41 points in 25 games. That is crazy.
That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous pace.
Like you said, second round pick. Absolutely no idea where he went to school. But on another note,
I'm pretty sure he's from California.
He is, and I was going to say, on another note too, a lot of people are excited, understandably so, because he's Filipino, and that is a culture. Asian culture is not represented well enough in the NHL, and we have a superstar, somebody who's putting up obscene numbers in Dallas. And people are finally starting to talk about him. It's huge for the game. I saw NHL, the official NHL Twitter account, made Jason Robertson their header on their profile picture. Yeah, they did. This might have been a couple weeks ago.
Good move.
And even in their bio, they like put something about Jason Robertson, and it was awesome. But Dallas, they have somebody in Jason Robertson. He's a stud, and he's young. I mean, he's a rookie, or a second year player.
Yeah, he's only 23.
Yeah, he's good player. Good player. Nickname Robo.
Yeah, I mean, hey, good for Dallas. They're having a good season too. I actually kind of like their team a lot. Sagan, Ben, Hintz, Robertson. Then they got Ottinger and Net. I mean,
they're a fun team.
Yeah, they're a fun team to root for and a fun team to watch.
I just saw something really funny about Tyler Sagan. Damn it, it's gonna bother me. I saw a video of him on Twitter. He didn't know his teammate's name or something like that. Did you see that?
What?
Oh God, hang on. I gotta find it.
Wait, he didn't know his own teammate's name?
Yeah, no, it wasn't something like that. It was like somebody that he was playing with. Ah, damn it. People are gonna think I'm crazy. I hope I'm not the only person who saw it. But he just always called somebody by their last name or something, and he just found out that their first name was something stupid. It's like the classic David Ortiz story when
Oh yeah.
when he called when somebody was like
Petey. It was Pedroia. It was
yeah, somebody
Pedroia.
was talking to Dustin Pedroia and they called Dustin Pedroia Dustin. David Ortiz was like went up to Dustin Pedroia, was like, "Hey man, like why the hell did you let him call you that?" And Pedroia was like, "Why'd I let him call me what?" He's like, "He called you Dustin." And Dustin's like, that's my name." And he was like, "Oh shit, I don't know, I just called you Petey." Like he never knew it. And I think Tyler Seguin might have fallen into the same trap.
I think he did. While you're looking for that though, let me read this first DM. So this comes in from the at Bruins Luchador. You've probably seen him at the Garden, always on the jumbotron. He's the guy wearing the Bruins
The luchador
wrestling
mask.
mask. Yeah. So he sends in the question. He goes 1-for-1. Who do you send down and who do you send up?
Oh. I don't want to send anybody down.
I'll be honest. I'm gonna say, for the sake of the question, I'm going to say you send down, even though he's great on the penalty kill, Thomas Nosek, and screw it, you bring up Mark McLaughlin. I don't care. I want to see McLaughlin at some point. I know he's kind of having a tough year in the AHL right now. But whenever he comes up to Boston, he seems to have it figured out. I'd love to see him up here. Let's see what he's got.
I would like to see him come up here too. Do you know what he's doing in the AHL though? Because I know people were talking about him not that long ago. Because he had like at one point he had like 13 games played. I think he only had like 3 or 4 points in those 13 games. Not what you would expect from McLaughlin after seeing what he did last year.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's having a tough year. He's got let's see here. This season for Providence, Mark McLaughlin is at one second here. Mark McLaughlin is at 22 games played, 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. Yeah, not really what you want to see from the kid from North Billerica, but his NHL stats aren't bad. I mean, not even just his stats. When he comes up and he plays, he looks comfortable. He's got 11 games played in Boston. He's got 3 points. No assists. Weirdly, they're all goals. But I don't know. He just, when he comes up, he looks comfortable. He doesn't look lost. Plays with 110% effort, and I'd hope that he's, when you're resting guys in the future, he's one of the first guys you would call up, regardless of his lack of production at the moment in Providence, because we know
Yeah.
he can play. We've seen him play. We've seen him in Boston. Like, a lot of us wanted him in the lineup at the beginning of the year to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to see what he could, and like some of those guys too, like they might not be able to make it work in the AHL, but for whatever reason they can at the next level. And I think AJ Greer is a great
Right.
example of that. And I know it wasn't just AHL. I know he spent some time in like Colorado, bounced around places, and he never really did anything until he came here to Boston. And he started the year off flaming hot, and he hasn't exactly kept that pace, which wasn't, he couldn't do that anyways. But
Right.
what about, I don't know too much about Providence. I know, the young names that they have that everybody's obviously talking about, but what about that Vinny Lettieri guy?
Yeah, Vinny Lettieri. I was gonna say
Yeah.
him.
Is
I
he
wouldn't
like a
mind
point
seeing
per game
him.
player down there right now?
Yeah, he's like an AHL superstar, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, try him out here. I know they've been trying some guys on the fourth line. I think they have their idea of who they're gonna have on their bottom six moving forward, whether or not they're in Boston right now or they will be, called up towards the end of the year. But why not see what he can do? I'm looking at his stats now. 21 games played in Providence, 10 goals, 11 assists. He's a point per game player in 21 games. He's 27. I think he's a center.
Yep.
Center. Call him up here. Let him play a few games. See what he can do. Might as well.
Yeah. Also, too, Cameron Hughes right now, 25 games played, 21 points, 5 goals, 16 assists, left winger. Pretty good stats. Oh, Jacob Lauko as well. I liked when he was up in the bottom six. He was playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Not Fabian Lysell.
What
He's
about
actually,
future?
not yet. Not
No.
yet. Yeah. But definitely in the future.
The problem, though, if you call these guys up, the second part of his question, who would you send down?
No sec.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to say it, but maybe Greer. I mean, he hasn't really
Yeah.
been
I
doing
would have
anything
said
crazy.
Frederick, but he's been playing really well
Oh,
as of
I
late.
love that. No, I don't want
Yeah.
Freddie going
No,
anywhere. He's
he's
been
been
playing
playing
so.
really
I,
well as of
he's
late.
in, dude. He's in his groove right now.
Ever since I think he got a little more confidence when he was told he's going to be in the lineup just about every night, and you've seen it. He's been taking advantage of it when he's been out there on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, he had his first career 2-goal game the other night,
Yeah.
which one
Also,
of them was a snipe, by the way.
yes,
That
it
one
was.
timer.
I found the video of Tyler Sagan. I'm glad to know I'm not crazy. I'll play it here. Ryan Sutter. He didn't know his first name was Ryan. I'll let you listen to it.
I was talking to Ryan last night. We haven't talked to him in a while. I just asked about the buy-in and how that process happens. And
Ryan?
Yes, Ryan.
Is that his first name?
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
How
So he
about
didn't know.
that?
Yeah, how about that? All right, Sagan.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
My God. I don't know what they got down there in Dallas, but ooh. Yeah, fun team though. That's a good question.
Actually, you know what? I need a. What I just said about Cameron Hughes is just not true. I was looking at last year's.
I was gonna say I didn't see him here with the points leader and with the baby
Yeah,
Bruins.
yeah. No, that is 100% on me. I apologize for that. That was
Oh
bad.
God, Keith Kincaid is 33.
Yeah, yeah. I was
thought he
gonna
was
say
like
he's.
I thought he was like in his late 20s.
Yeah, no, you said 29, and I was clearly we need
No,
to
I
do
think
some
I said
homework on
I think
the.
I said 26.
Oh boy. Hey, clearly we need to do some homework on the
Oh,
Providence Bruins.
you know
That's
who
on
we're not
us.
talking about? What about Chris Wagner? He's
I
putting
wouldn't
his
mind
head
seeing
down and
Wags up.
he's putting his dues in, trying to fight his way back to this team. Give Chris Wagner another shot, damn it. I love when Chris Wagner is here.
Yeah, I mean
He's the
he's
mayor of
kind of like
Walpole.
he's like an older version of AJ Greer in terms of what
Yeah.
they bring to the lineup.
A little more wisdom. He's been
Yeah,
around the block. He's seen a thing or two. I loved Chris Wagner when he was playing on that fourth line.
yeah, he was one of my favorites.
We got another question from Melinda. You can follow her on Twitter at Melinda_paints. She says, Mike, this is for you. You were at the game. Could you feel the melancholy Bruce Cassidy effect? Not only with the Bruins team, but in the arena as well. It was like your ex-spouse showing up for Thanksgiving. I felt it out of watching the game. Very emotional situation that's messed with everyone's heads.
Um, weirdly, yeah, you could kind of sense it in the crowd that there it was an underlying theme. There was something outside of the game that everybody was thinking about. But I don't think it had too much of an effect on players. I think maybe in the beginning they were just kind of squeezing their sticks a little bit too hard. Maybe it was a little bit awkward. It probably was a little bit awkward, but I mean, you got to assume they probably didn't just stay silent before the game. Like some of the guys probably went and talked to him just to catch up, see how he's doing. Because people forget yeah, it's a game, but also these guys are regular people. Like
Yeah.
they built a relationship with Bruce. Some of these guys for 6 seasons. You get to know people like that, and you're just gonna catch up as friends. You
Yeah.
build relationships like that.
Yeah, and I was watching specifically, again, because of my tweets earlier, I was watching Jake DeBrusk with a fine eye in overtime, hoping he was going to get that net that winner.
Yep.
Like he was like skating like he was shot out of a cannon. Like you could tell he wanted to score because Bruce
Yeah.
Cassidy was there. I remember there was one play he had just hopped off the bench, and the Bruins had the puck, so it was again 3-on-3 overtime. The Bruins are regrouping. The defenseman skating back into the Bruins zone. He's skating in front of Swayman, and he just kind of dropped the puck. And the Brus came off the bench, came screaming down the boards, probably did 150 to 200 crossovers in the span of like 4.5 seconds, picked up the puck, went screaming down the other boards towards the Knights goalie, tried to come right off the inside, trying to, beat the defenseman to the back post, and then lost the puck in the corner. And I was like, oh my God, I've never
Yeah.
seen somebody want to score more in their entire life than Jake DeBrusk did right now. And you could even see it in the shootout when Nebraska went and he didn't score, and you could see when he was skating past the Knights bench, he was kind of laughing himself. He was like, "Damn, like
Yeah.
I wanted that one."
Well, dude, he had a chance in the third period when the game was tied that it was pretty close to a goal, dude. And I was
I
like,
jumped off my couch. Yeah.
dude, if he had scored right there, oh my god, the garden would have blown up. Like
Yeah.
it literally would have the jumbotron
if-
would have fallen, the stands would
Bruce-
have crumbled.
If Bruce Cassidy wasn't crying before the game, he would have been crying right then watching Jake DeBrusk score to beat him.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm sure that was on Bruce's mind too. Like shit,
Mm.
anyone but him right now.
Yeah.
Even if it's not personal, just like because of the storylines around it. Like,
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, it's a game in the beginning of December. Like it's not big in terms of, I guess it's big in the sense that you only play these guys twice because they're in the other conference, but you could definitely feel not so much the tension, but it's like the static electricity in the air. Like even you were at the game. I'm sure you have a fantastic interpretation of what was going on, but watching on the TV just felt different. Like it just felt like a big game. And it's interesting because it's not like it's like Joe Thornton's first time coming back to Boston after they sent him off to San Jose, Tyler Seguin coming back after they sent him off to Dallas. Like it's a coach, and the Bruins at the time were they were 20-3 as of last night. Like you clearly don't miss them. Like who cares? You're doing fine without him. And to see the reception that he got and to kind of understand what the fans were what the players were going through, because Bruce Cassidy was beloved in Boston. I mean, and I guess myself, I thought a little differently about him after hearing how like the locker room reacted to him, but like seeing what he's done in Vegas and hearing what he said about the Bruins, I mean, he very well could have like exposed all the state secrets if he wanted to about, oh, I hated Jake DeBrusk because of this, or Krejci left because of this. But he didn't, and I'm happy for him that he got his win last night. I'm just upset that it came at the hands of the Bruins.
yeah, and I mean, you don't spend 6 years with an organization if you weren't successful. He didn't miss the playoffs once. He made playoffs every single season he was the head coach.
Yeah, and it's not even like the Bruins like went out and hired him. I mean, he took over after Claude Julien was here and had the interim tag for a little bit, and then coached so well they named him the head coach, and then he won a Jack Adams Award. He, coached the Bruins to the Stanley Cup, and it was like kind of out of nowhere they had this guy. And like the Bruins, I mean, when you think of the Boston Bruins, if you were to put an animal to the Bruins, I mean, they're literally a bear. Like it's like, I know it sounds kind of dumb to say that, but like they've always been like so rough and tough and loud and in your face, and they're, the big black and gold colors and the loud, drunk, obnoxious fans. Like that's who they are as an organization. And I think Bruce Cassidy so well personified that. Like he did such a good job of like just him on the bench. Like he just looked like the coach of the Boston Bruins. Like just so stern. Like he just looked like he always had, like he was always cool, calm, and collected. And I always love that part about him. But that's why seeing Montgomery behind the bench now is such like a little like welcome change of pace. Like he's the exact opposite of what we had from Bruce Cassidy. And it's working. And I don't remember off the top of my head of who they had in Vegas as their coach last year, but clearly the switch to Bruce Cassidy is working for them, and clearly the switch that the Bruins made to Jim Montgomery is working for them as well. So it's a win-win situation.
Hey, so actually that leads us it's a perfect transition into our last DM. So this comes in from Natasha Gershon. She's a great follow on Twitter. All hockey, not just the Bruins. Hockey in general. Awesome follower. You can follow her on Twitter at NG3400. She asks, Bruce Cassidy, Jim Montgomery.
Oh shit. Gonna make me choose?
Yep. I mean, okay, I think I know who we're both going with, but
hang on. Like what's the context? Like who would I rather have as a coach of the Bruins right now, or like who do I think is a better coach?
Let's do who do you think is a better coach?
As Bruce Cassidy.
I'm gonna say Jim Montgomery. That's
and
crazy.
Honestly, okay. I don't hate you for that, but I just think I think that we have a larger NHL head coach sample size of Bruce Cassidy. He's won everywhere he's been. He stepped into a role with the Bruins, coached here for 6 years, had 4 100-point seasons. Just mentioned Jack Adams Award winner. Just mentioned went to the Cup. And then he stepped in Vegas to a team that sucked, and they're the best team in the West right now. And I think that has to be said. Jim Montgomery has done a fantastic job here. And he was a good coach in, where was he? Minnesota in college. He was coaching there, right?
Yes.
And he was a good assistant coach, whatever he was doing in I think it was in Dallas and in St. Louis before. But Bruce, this is Bruce Cassidy's arena. He's been the head coach. He's been a head coach in the NHL now for the last 7 years. And I think because of his track record and because he just has a longer resume, Bruce Cassidy is the better coach in my opinion.
See, now here's my perspective. I think in the old NHL, in the structured NHL, Bruce Cassidy is the better coach by a pretty wide margin. But since the game is changing, it's becoming more of a free kind of game, free thought game, creative game. I think that works in the favor of a coach like Jim Montgomery because he allows players to read and develop plays themselves, create their own opportunities. Don't play in a structure, play based on how you feel the play is developing and go from there. Trust your instincts, trust your guts, do what you think is going to be best in the situation that you're in. Also allowing the defenseman to jump up in the play, allow them to be as offensive as they want, and really create offensive zone chances for themselves as well. Team chemistry wise, I think Montgomery is better as well because like we were just saying, like Cassidy just gives off this energy of being the stern, hard-nosed, gritty guy, which is, it's not a criticism of him at all in any way. It's just, I think it works better in today's league where guys are their personalities are more known within the media due to social media and just exposure to the internet in general. Montgomery allows them to kind of just be themselves, and he doesn't seem to be the guy who's on their ass either when things are going tough. Like he's not gonna dig at you.
Yeah, and I think that those are really good points you made. I think that's fair criticism as well. But on the flip side too, I think that's more related to individual teams. I think that this is the perfect team assembled for Jim Montgomery's style of coaching.
Yes.
And Bruce Cassidy is a fantastic coach, and an example of that is exactly what he's doing in Vegas right now. They have the third best record in the league, best team in the West. He took his philosophy that he had on the Bruins and brought it out there. And even Bruce Montgomery's philosophy, even though it's different than Montgomery, it worked. It never not worked. He wasn't fired because he was a bad coach. He was fired because people assumed that he lost the locker room. I mean, the Bruins were arguably one of the top 3 best teams in the East and a top 5 team in the entire NHL for the entirety of Bruce Cassidy as a head coach here. And I think that, what you just alluded to, his style of coaching, I think kind of led to maybe some of these early playoff exits. I think they might have led to why he's no longer the coach of the Bruins, which probably correlates honestly a lot with the way that the locker room reacted to him as a coach. I think he wasn't fired because he was a bad coach. He wasn't fired because the Bruins sucked. He was fired because the players didn't like him. And that's what happens when you have that kind of coaching style. And he's out in Vegas right now. They don't have the same locker room as the Bruins. Clearly, they react better to Bruce Cassidy's style of coaching. But then again, maybe they don't. Because what we're seeing in Vegas is what we've seen from the Bruins the last 6 years that Bruce Cassidy was here. But both of them are fantastic coaches. If the Bruins, I would rather have Jim Montgomery as my coach for obvious reasons. But whoever you think is better, there's no wrong answer. They're both great coaches in their own right.
Yeah, exactly. There is no wrong answer. Both coaches are excellent. Both coaches have an amazing track record in the league. And I think it's just I just think Cassidy's message got stale after 6 seasons. That's a long time to have one coach.
And that happens. And not even just that it was not even just for that reason, the wrong coach. I mean, it was virtually the same locker room for like all 6 years. The Bruins have had the same core since like post Stanley Cup since like 2015. I mean, a lot of these guys have been here for that long. And he just lost the locker room. It happens to the best coaches. It happens to everybody. Your voice gets still after a while, and they find somebody new. It happens to all the great coaches. I mean, you can't win everything, but even the most competitive teams and most competitive coaches they can lose the locker room, and that's what we saw. We do have one more DM question.
Oh shoot! Okay.
This is from Ethan Moriarty.
Let's go, Ethan.
At E Moriarty WX. He asked, question for the pod: what would you like to receive in a trade for Mike Riley? I'm gonna be honest. A bag of pucks. I'll take anything. Because the point of trading Mike Riley isn't to get a return, it's to just shed his cap. So like I'm more concerned about literally the only thing I'm concerned about trading Mike Riley is who the Bruins also have to give up to trade Mike Riley. Like if you could trade just Mike Riley for like a 5th round pick, I would have done it yesterday. But like I don't think that's I think that's what they're struggling with right now, as we're watching them continuously put him and Strawman on waivers, trying to have anybody just take these guys, and nobody will take them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is too with Mike Riley, he's a good player.
Yeah,
it's literally just the contract that's hurting him. But I would literally take a 7th round pick. Like, it sucks because he should be playing in the NHL. He's an NHL player. But yeah, you're gonna have to probably, like you said, attach somebody to that trade.
Yeah, and I wonder if part of it too, if part of the reason that they're having so much trouble unloading this guy is teams are probably trying to force the Bruins' hands. I mean, they know the farther along this goes, the farther along the season goes, the Bruins are going to be more and more and more desperate to move some cap, and they really only have it's Craig Smith, it's Mike Riley, and it's Strawman. Is there anybody else I'm missing who are candidates to shed cap? And like, I don't know if I haven't heard anything about whether or not they've been trying to move. I think Craig Smith is still a good guy to keep around because injuries happen. He's a good guy. You can plug him in the lineup. I think that he's the guy that they want to keep the most out of the 3. And he's really the only one that I haven't heard that they've been aggressively trying to shed. But like they've been knocking on every single door to get to move Mike Riley and to move Anton Strawman. And as the season progresses and they get more and more desperate as they have to shed this cap to make everybody fit on their roster, teams are going to take exception to that. And they're going to say, all right, you know, if we were to trade for Mike Riley on December 6th, we would ask for a 5th as well to give you our 7th. But as you get more and more desperate now, it's, the trade deadline's next week. Why don't you send us a 4th as well? Or why don't you package some shiny prospect in there as well? And I think that might be a little bit of what the Bruins are experiencing right now. Especially if you put a guy on waivers and a team has to give up nothing except for a stall in their locker room to have this guy join their team, and they're still not taking him, it's because they're trying to force the Bruins' hand.
Yeah, it's obviously Mike Riley and those guys aren't comparable at all to, say, Taylor Hall a couple years ago, right? But it's kind of similar because Taylor Hall had full control of the situation. He could only choose, like, Buffalo's hand was forced the way the Bruins' hands are forced, and they're just gonna have to wait for the best deal. Honestly, they're just gonna have to wait to see what comes their way and take the best trade bait they can get.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and the best deal for the Bruins isn't the best return for Mike Riley. The best deal for the Bruins is giving up the least amount to get rid of Mike Riley.
Yeah, exactly. And they're gonna have to make that decision at some point. But yeah, I mean, hey, that was the last DM, right?
That was the last one I had.
That
Yeah,
was okay.
I think it was. I think it was. Let me double check. Nothing.
I think it was. Yeah, because I didn't have anything else.
By the way, also, just for people listening, if you follow our Twitter account, which again, if you don't, what the hell are you doing? I'll plug it right here. Follow us on Twitter at Bruin something. No G, just at Bruin something. We try to record every Tuesday night. So that means that usually every Sunday night, every Monday, we put out a tweet saying, send a DM to either our Twitter account at Bruin something, Sully's Twitter account at _ Mike Sullivan, or my Twitter account at Nick Melanson _. We always say how much we love reading these questions. They're a lot of fun. We always plug ats. So like send us questions because they're fun. We enjoy reading them. Yeah, keep them coming.
Yeah, keep them coming. It's honestly, I don't know if it's your favorite part of the show, but it's definitely my favorite part.
No,
of the show.
it really is. It really is because like.
Yeah.
Like we do a lot of the Bruins talk, but like a lot of what I enjoy the most about this podcast is like the honest and like, I mean, I've known you my entire life, like the casual conversations that we have and how we can kind of go on little tangents from like, and it usually all stems from a DM question. So like, it doesn't matter how silly it is. It could be like a real analytical question about the Bruins. We'll answer it. It could be like, Nick, why do you like cottage cheese? And I'll answer it because I think it tastes good. Like it could literally be anything, and we'll make sure that we get it on the pod.
Well, actually, that does kind of relate to this. So we do have one more DM question.
Oh boy,
we're gonna do it. So Lauren asks, she's at Big Bruins
Darla.
Energy. No. It's her Twitter handle is at Big Bruins Energy. As we were just saying, sometimes we like to answer like the funny like weird questions.
Yeah.
So she asked, I'm trying to find it right here. What player on the roster would be the best at building IKEA furniture?
Oh my gosh.
Who would it be?
You know what? For
Who
her,
would yeah.
I'm gonna say Derek Forbert. He looks like a handyman. He looks like a guy who can carry some heavy boxes up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he looks like he's probably built a couple pieces of furniture in his day.
That's what I was thinking too. Like who on the roster looks handy? Like
yeah.
Clifton looks like he'd put like the legs of an air. No, he looks like he'd put like the legs of a table on backwards. Like
Clifton, funny enough, graduated from Quinnipiac with his degree in engineering. So he might be the one that you would want to pick.
I am so wrong. I apologize.
Yeah. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Let me think here. Maybe I don't know.
You know
Taylor Hall.
Taylor
Hall. I don't know.
You know what I just realized that we forgot to do?
What?
The DM of the month for November.
Ooh.
Listen, I don't remember who asked it.
Okay.
Or what the question was specifically. But whatever question got us on the tangent talking about changing the name of Blades, the Bruins mascot, to Beans.
Yeah.
We have to find who that was.
Yeah, if we don't find it, we'll mention it on the next pod too.
Yeah.
We'll mention your name and we'll pull it up. And if you're listening right now and you sent in the question, you're like, that was me, please send us a message so that we can mention you later.
We'll give you the respect you deserve on the airwaves, because that was a great question, and I love answering those kind of questions. Like the first one we gave. Okay, well, let's go down the list. The first DM of the month we gave to Lauren at Big Bruins Energy for her question about if we were stuck on a deserted island, what 3 players would we pick? Spoiler alert, one of the players I picked is now in Vancouver. The second DM of the month was from Ethan at eMoriartyWX. I don't remember what he asked. Do you?
I want to say that was the pickle sandwich one, wasn't it?
Oh my god, it absolutely was.
Was it?
He asked if pickles belong on, I think it was on chicken sandwiches.
Yeah, which they do.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And the third one is whoever asked the question that got us on the tangent talking about Blades should have his names changed to Beans. That was my favorite from this book.
Yeah, if that was you, please let us know.
Yeah, so guess what? This is the first episode of December. That means the new slate. We just had a new set of questions, and we got I don't know what, 3 more episodes this month. So send in your questions. We'll get a new winner, and maybe we'll do something at I don't know, the end of the year, at the end of the Bruins season for whoever has the DM of the year. We'll get a little bracket going.
I was gonna we'll do a little bracket and we'll put like a poll who had the best, and then
we can link each episode so people can go back and hear exactly what we were talking about.
Yes.
Look at us, huh?
And you know what? I'm gonna commit to this right now. if you win DM of the year, I will buy or somehow find a puck signed by a player of your choice. I will get it
Oh.
done. I will get it done.
You know what? I think because of that, I'm going to send in a DM next week. I'm going to make sure we pick it.
Although I do have a signed Robin Leonard puck.
I was downstairs the other day, and we have we call it the quiet room. I guess it's like a den, and we have an old roll top desk. And I found a certificate of authenticity for a signed Patrice Bergeron puck. I have no idea where that thing is. I got it.
No.
I got it. It was a signed Winter Classic puck. It was one of the.
Oh.
It was one of the Winter Classic. It wasn't. I don't think it was the one against. Who did they play after the Flyers? Didn't they have another Winter Classic after that?
Yeah, they played Montreal at Gillette.
It was the. Yep. It was a Bruins Montreal like novelty, Winter Classic puck with Patrice Bergeron's signature right across the front. No idea where it is. No idea.
You have the certificate, but not the puck.
Yeah, and even I have a little when the Bruins won the Stanley Cup in 2011. I have a part of the net from the game that they cut off, and it's on this thing, and it says, I don't know where it.
You don't know where that is either.
No, I can find it.
That's a sin.
It's like this tiny little stand. And it just sits up by itself, and it says in big letters, it has like the Bruins logo, the Stanley Cup on it. It says 2011 Stanley Cup champion Boston Bruins, part of the net. And you flip it over, and there's a sticker, certificate for the authenticity from the NHL, and there's a piece of the net like that big right on it. I'll have to find it.
What'd you use it for? To like tie your shoelaces? Like your shoelaces?
No, I rested my toothbrush on it.
Oh my!
No, I'm just kidding. I had. Okay, well, listen. When I was in high school, my bedroom, right? I have like 2 shelves in my bedroom, and they were filled with all of my sports memorabilia from over the years. If you know me, I've played every sport under the moon. Ice hockey, deck hockey, lacrosse, soccer, baseball, basketball, football. I did karate for a week and a half. The guy said we have to pay for our own karate equipment. So I went, I'm done. See you later. So actually, my parents told me it was too expensive for both. They said I could either do karate or hockey. And I picked hockey. Thankfully I did. Otherwise, I'd be hosting a karate podcast right now. But my we just be talking about like SpongeBob episodes or something.
Yeah.
My whole room was like just covered in like, I don't know, like trophies or medals over the years, or like baseballs that I had from like games, or hockey pucks from games. And the Bergeron puck was on my shelf with my hockey pucks from my hockey career. Not that there's a lot. And I had the part of the net from the 2011 Stanley Cup on my shelf, like on top of my dresser. And I'm in the last 5 years, I've hardly been in my bedroom because I've been at college. And I came back from college. I graduated for the second time, shout out, back in May. And when I came back to my room, I was like, this is an 18-year-old's room. I got to do something about this. So I took all my memorabilia down. It's either in my basement or my attic. I don't know where the hell it is. And I'm sure that Bruins, that Bergeron puck, as well as the part of the net, is probably in one of those boxes somewhere. I'll have to dig it out and find it.
I hope so, dude. That's tough to lose.
Yeah, and the Bergeron puck is in a little case too. It's in a clear little case, and it's on a little stand to protect it. I just don't know where it is.
I've also had this thing.
You know what else I have?
Years.
What is that? Who is that?
Nomar.
Noma. You know what else I had?
What?
When the AHL All-Star game was in Worcester, when was that? Like 2009 or something?
Yeah, I remember that though. Yeah,
I went to the game with my friend Ryan, and I got the entire team to sign a hat. And Claude Giroux was there, Corey Schneider was there. Like, if you go look up the roster, literally everybody at that game, they signed the hat. No idea where it is. Absolutely no idea. And it's so old. It was a black AHL All-Star game hat, and the whole thing was covered in like, I went down to the bench after the game and got their signatures. The whole thing was covered in like the silver Sharpie signatures. And over the years, it started to fade to the point where you could kind of hardly see the signatures anymore. And at the time, I was like 10 years old and I didn't know who the hell was signing these things. So I look back at it now and I'm like, I know Corey Schneider is on there because who can forget his red hair? I know he signed it, but like I don't remember who, unless they wrote their number next to their name, which again is hardly legible at this point. I don't remember who signed the hat, and I don't even know where it is. I might have worn it by accident, honestly, one of these days.
Damn.
I know.
Damn,
I can
well.
see that. I can see the terror in your face. Losing all my memorabilia.
Well, we can start a little GoFundMe page for like a search and rescue team. But
Yeah.
hey, but with that being said, as always, something's brewing. Brought to you by the Black and Gold Productions LLC. You can follow them on Twitter at BNG Productions. Follow our Twitter, our podcast Twitter at something's brewing or brewing something. Sorry. Follow myself on Twitter at _ Mike Sullivan. Follow Nick on Twitter at Nick Melanson. Happy December to everybody. I hope you all have a nice holiday season, and we will catch you guys next week.
Bye.